like emojis floating to the top of your screen. These are the best of my lives on Facebook. My lives on Facebook.
Big exciting news in Beyond Obedience front. I have internet. What? Yes. Hey, everybody. It is Tracy here from Beyond Obedience. I'm coming at you live from my downstairs, actually. And now that I'm wearing glasses, I've got a twinkle in my eye. Look at that. I've got a twinkle in my eye. I'm so happy to be here. I might have to take these glasses off. That might be a little distracting. I didn't want to miss this opportunity to get on today and talk about crates because we did have a question yesterday. We just added a new pup to our pack. 2 older dogs already established here. Pack of 3. This guy doesn't like the crate at all. Mostly, I think, because the other 2 are free to roam, but also being home all day right now, the pup knows it wants to snuggle and play. Beyond, I might have to take these glasses off because even though this little twinkle in my eye it's disturbing, isn't it? It's weird, this little light in my eye. Now I won't be able to read the screen if anybody says anything. But crates are fantastic for multiple reasons, not just for housebreaking. The very first thing that I want to say is that crate training starts with your attitude about crate training, right? If you have any negative feelings about crate training, and I don't mean negative feelings as in like I don't like crates, they're stupid. I'm talking about if for a moment you go, oh, I feel bad. I feel bad for my dog. If for at any moment you feel bad about the concept of putting the dog in the crate, that's going to just infuse itself into the crate experience itself for the dog. So I want you to always start off with this kick-ass attitude about how wonderful crates are, and for so many reasons. Not just for housebreaking, although housebreaking is pretty important and probably the number one thing that you want to get under control as soon as you bring a new puppy home, right? Nobody wants to be cleaning up messes, and I get that. But there's so many other reasons why crates are so beneficial. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that you need in order to make the crate experience a little bit more fun, a little bit more part of your dog's everyday life and part of their training, I highly recommend checking out Susan Garrett's crate games. Susan Garrett, if you haven't already heard of her, just Google her. She's got tons of stuff out there, but she has these crate games that she plays with all of her dogs that really starts to change this concept that the crate isn't about a confinement or being solitary or being alone or anything like that. She turns this into a game where the puppies just love and dig going into the crate. So I would recommend that, as crate is awesome and the crate is your best friend, because that's going to help really turn this around for the puppy to make it be something that is not just for I should do an ad for crates, be like, crates not just for sleeping anymore, just not just for body training anymore. I'll just start a whole new campaign for crates. But what I wanted to also talk about when it comes to this idea of crates is that, and I'm going to address what you said in the other part of your post where you said this guy doesn't really like the crate, mostly I think because the other 2 are free roaming. Okay, so I'm going to address that right now. Dogs don't look at things in fair or unfair. Right? They're not sitting there going, that dog gets out of the crate and I don't, and that's not fair. My kids do that, right? Anybody that has kids, they know the difference between what's fair and what's not fair. But dogs actually don't live that way. So they really don't have this, the other dogs are roaming around, I should get to roam around attitude. That comes from us. We have that. We feel that. So I want you to change that perspective. Right? Now, that's not to say that your puppy still does not like the fact that they're in the crate when the other dogs are roaming around, but that has nothing to do with them feeling like it's unfair, right? And the other aspect of this is that the puppy knows that you're home all day and they want to play and snuggle. That part is true, and this is all going to tie together, because here's the thing with the crates. the reason why your puppy protests the crate, the reason why your puppy doesn't want to be in the crate, isn't because the other dogs are free and isn't because you're home all day, because they think it's unfair. It's because dogs naturally want to be with us. They are a social species and they do things together. If you recall my talk before about pro-social, we are better together, that's the part that is your puppy is struggling with. They are not equipped to do things alone. They are a social species that requires the presence of other dogs, people, that sort of thing. So what does that mean? That means that being in the crate by yourself may suck, and that you're gonna have to deal with, right? That's the unfortunate thing about this. It is gonna suck. Anytime someone calls me up and they're like, well, my puppy doesn't like the crate. I just brought a puppy home, my puppy doesn't like the crate. I'm like, well, of course they don't like the crate. They don't want to be alone, but that's why it's called crate training, right? This isn't, crate loving it. This is crate training. And there's a purpose and a reason why we have to train them. This is something where we have to get the dogs to understand that even though you don't like it, we're gonna do our very, very best. We're gonna do our very best to make sure that you do like it, that it doesn't have a negative connotation to it. We're not feeling bad about it. We're gonna incorporate the games and feeding and all sorts of stuff to try to make it appear more fun to you. But at the end of the day, they do not like being away from the other dogs, and they do not like being away from you, and that's in them. That is their genetic nature. It is their way of being. If you look right now, I don't know if I can do this. Look who's there. I can see if I can find them. There is a dog there. There is a dog there, and there is a dog on the chair. I don't know where the Aussies are, to be perfectly honest with you. But 3 out of 5 of my dogs are here. One of them can't even come down here, but they just naturally go where I go because they want to spend time with me. That's just genetically what they're programmed to do. So that's why we call it crate training. And it is essential for them to understand this concept, to be trained to understand that there are going to be times where we're going to have to be separate, but the training part is what I need you to do during this time is I need you to be calm and I need you to be quiet. This is rest time. This is quiet time. You're not missing out on anything. Nothing else is going on. This is quiet rest time. And that's where the training part comes. So if it sucks for a little while, it sucks for a little while. It's just them trying to understand this concept of being away from you and away from the other dogs. And I'm going to put this out there because I always get people that end up like messaging me going, my dog loved the crate right from day one. Well, you know what? Your dog is weird. No, just kidding. No. I mean, obviously there are some more independent breeds that like their alone time and like their crates. But for the majority of us, we all struggle that first little bit to get them more on board. Now I want to comment on your other point about right now being during these crazy COVID times where we're all working from home a lot more, or we're spending more time at home, and maybe that was part of the influence that got you to get a puppy at this time, because a lot of people did. A lot of people were like, you know what, I'm home anyway. When's this going to happen again where I have all this time to train and do all this stuff with the puppy? But what I want to encourage you to do with your new puppy is you need to start creating the experiences that you expect to happen in your life when your dog is older, right? I want you to think about what things am I going to be doing? What are my expectations of this puppy? And I want you to create them now. And if that means that after breakfast and after playtime, you're going to have some quiet time, then you create that now. You put your puppy in the crate, you do, whatever you need to do, whatever routine you've come up with to put them in the crate. They're in the crate. Even if they cry, you're going to leave them. I know that part's hard because you're home, but you're going to leave them. You're going to have their quiet time. I encourage basically for you to create that with everybody. Like my crate time for my puppies is when I sit down and I have my cup of tea, or I do my social media, or I'm working on the computer. Then I'll put the puppy away. Whenever I'm distracted and I'm not able to pay attention to the puppy, right? You want to create this idea that the whole house is calm right now. Your job is to just be in your crate. And also to recognize, there's so many things about puppies, but also to recognize that puppies need a ton of sleep. They need a ton of sleep. They are like toddlers. And if you don't give them enough downtime, rest time, they'll wreck your house and be a menace. And the only other thing that I can say to you is that yes, it does suck, and it's supposed to suck, right? It's supposed to suck. If you have a puppy that does not want to be in a crate, that's actually a puppy that is wired properly. That's right. That's the bottom line. That puppy is wired properly. It's wired to genetically want to be with other dogs or with people, and that's how they're wired, and there's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean we don't crate train them. It means that we have to look at it as, this is something that I need to provide. It's a life skill that I need to provide you so that you can have the very best possible life here in Humansville, right? And I don't have one down here, but I have a crate in my back room. I have a crate in my bedroom. When I had my beagle, I used to have a crate that was beside my couch. The door was always left open. I had crates everywhere. Didn't mean that they were necessarily, my dogs were locked in them, but they were available to them. That's how important crates are. So I hope that helps. If anybody else has any other questions, we're going to talk more about crates.